And welcome to Friday's edition of Game Creation, and we're looking at creating Donkey Kong this week, become King of Kong. So far we've got actually a platform thing that works, and it has that kind of cool thing at the start where it falls down, and we've got actual ladders, which is quite an important part of the game. I don't know whether we'll ever get to the middle ones because they are going to be way too complicated, but today we're going to be creating Jumpman, and that is our key for today. So let's have a look at our image file, and let's look at Jumpman, who absolutely does not look anything like any other character. Now you can see that the sprites are weird sizes. And you might be thinking, well, hang on, aren't these supposed to be 8x8? The way Nintendo got around that, and actually quite a lot of games, is 8x8 was just too small for arcades. So what they'd do is they'd have an 8x8 pixel and put it together with another 8x8 pixel, which would be that, and another 8x8 pixel, etc., etc. So yeah, this is weird. So this is 16 high. Okay, I was going to say. So they would split it up into lots of different 8x8s, and let's see whether we can put this. Wow, there's so many. That's a impressive amount of pixels. So let's see whether I can put in my. I don't know whether this will work because they're not right next to each other, but let's see whether we can put in my guides. Seems to get really annoyed if I've got too many. It only works unless I've got too many, so that's interesting. We don't want an offset, so we can get rid of that. Yeah, I think these ones are too low. So we can bring these ones up. Can we? No, clearly not. Anyway. So we can kind of see that they all fit within 4 8x8 pixels. And then this one needs another one. That's just really interesting. So they've used 6 here, and then this one I think it's lower than it should be. I think these are all lower, so if we found some way to move these up, that would be great, but alas, Photoshop, maybe it's this one. There we are. Perfect. And so we can get rid of the bottom part here. Let's get rid of all of that. And we could probably, if we're really clever, change the canvas size to 16. Cool. And so yeah, that's all the pixel stuff. I think this one, again, I don't think these are perfectly aligned. Is it OCD now to go through and align these all perfectly with? Probably. Yeah, it is. I need to stop. The most important thing is that it's 16 by 16, and so that's what we're going to try and create on this. And I am not an artist, so I'm just going to put that right out now. And we're going to do the same as we did in the ladder. We're going to draw him 16 by 16. Whoop, if I can type it right. We're going to draw him there, and then we're just going to enlarge it by a scale factor 3. Okay, and the reason we're going to do that is because I am awful at drawing, so the less pixels I have to draw, the better. So what I'm not going to do is sit here and try and draw it on this video. I'm going to show you my very, very crude attempt at Jumpman in a second. So I'm going to pause this and give it a go. Okay, so this is what I've come up with. Good enough. Maybe, I don't know. Alright, so we want the action point normally to be at the bottom middle when we've got a character, and I've got him facing left, so I'm going to move him to the left, and we're just going to have rotation so that he can move left to right. Now, as before, what I said is I'm going to clone this, because always try and keep the original, and then we're just going to use the resize and we're just going to times it by 3, which will be 48. And there we go. So if we put him on the stage now, don't like the fact that it's purple. I think that was a poor choice. I've already used purple. So it should really be red, shouldn't it? So we can quickly change that now. There we go, much better. Right, so if we just do and I need to make sure that I've done both directions for this. There we are. Okay. So what I haven't done is, so I've got this one as 48, but I need to do the other direction as 48. And if you look, I haven't copied this across to here. This is what happens when you rush. Okie dokie. So double click and is it 48, wasn't it? Yeah, 48. And then 48. Got there in the end, right. So what I can do is I can quickly just do sort of 8 directions, and then I can move him about with the cursor keys. Movement feels good. Obviously you can then go wherever he wants on the stage, which is not ideal. I'm not necessarily going to do any of the walking animations. I might do. He falls behind the platforms, which I don't know whether we want that. It's quite a cool effect to go behind the platforms, but we shall see. So we've got Jumpman created, which is really good. But let's try and do platform. I've never had. So if I run it now, he will just fall through the floor. Because there's nothing stopping him. So if I put him right here, there's nothing there stopping him. So we need to make these a kind of platform which will stop him. And what we can do is say if there's a collision with the platform, I want him to stop. I want the platforms to stop him. And there we go. Actually, that's not too bad. But we've kind of got a problem here, because the platform's stopping him here, and also we can go down the sides here. But the platform's stopping him from being able to walk there, which is worrying. That's not ideal. So yeah, so he's a bit too big for this, let's just say. Now let's have a look at the original, because I can't actually remember how the original goes. So it's just Mario dying over and over again because I've abandoned it. So what's Mario's height here? So Mario is literally the perfect height here, and when he jumps he can jump. Oh no! So he's the perfect height there, which is interesting. So we can actually measure that on here, on this one. And let's see how many pixels that is. So that is 14 pixels high. So how tall is he on here? Ooh. So he's 16 pixels. So yeah, it's roughly the same. And let's just check. So he is, how tall is he? He's 48, and we do 48 divided by 16. Well, divided by 3, which is 16. So that works. But he does look a lot bigger. Let's try and get to that bottom bit. Yeah, he does look a lot bigger. Maybe it's just 2 frames. But we don't want him to stop every time. We want this to be treated as a platform, not something that will stop him forever. So I'm just going to pause it a second. Okay, right, now I'm going to talk to you. I have always wanted desperately to use actives as platforms, but Clickteam has never ever allowed it that I know of. My information is quite old though, so if anyone has a new sort of insight into how you can use an active as a platform, whether using the physics object or otherwise, let me know, because that would be useful. But the way around it is that either you can, and I'm just going to show here, you can use a backdrop object, I believe, as a platform, obstacle type platform. So if I put that there, then I could use that. It's that one. I can use that as a platform for him, I believe, although it doesn't work. And there's probably something I'm doing wrong. Collision with box. No, he just drops straight through. So I don't really understand. If I call it a ladder, does he go up the ladder? No, not really. It doesn't seem to have any interaction with that. So that seems to not be working very well at all in Clickteam. And again, you probably will let me know that actually, oh no, it works brilliantly. You've just got to do X, Y, Z. The other thing you can do is you can compare the X and Y as the Y coordinates. So you can insert the fact that so you're comparing the position. So compare the Y position to the value. If the character is above, and I'm never going to get this right. So if he is or she is lower, so above, then stop the player. And so that will allow you, if we let this fall, that will allow you to clip this part here. So that's not a problem for this bit. But it stops here for some reason. I think it's getting confused between this one and this one. So you've kind of got to jump over that part. It's fine normally, it's fine walking normally, but as soon as you get to this part, this condition is happening at the same time for both of these. And so for this bottom one, it's saying, yes, stop the player. And for this one, it's saying, no, don't stop the player, but equally, well, you have this one. It's really strange. So you can walk uphill unless you've got a collision at the top, even though Clickteam should ignore it. Does that make any sense? Now, the other thing is the jump is pathetic. I mean, he's called Jumpman, so we need to sort out the jump. And we can do that within here. So you can change all sorts of things, but gravity and strength. So you want to reduce the gravity and increase the strength. And it's just a matter of trying to get it so that it's perfect. The other thing you realise is that when you jump, he shouldn't be stopped at all, and yet he is stopped, which is really strange. I don't really understand why. And this is why using Clickteam's movement is not necessarily the best way of approaching this. And just right then, it's really kind of clunky. And he shouldn't be able to jump that high. So we've kind of exaggerated the jump somewhat. But we've kind of got stuck in it. And I think what's happening is when the coordinates are matching, he's getting sort of stuck in the block, in the platform. So maybe we should change it to lower than Y, and and then the height of it, which would be 24. Is it minus 24? I don't know. Let's have a look. Yeah, it seems to work a lot more, because what was happening was while he was halfway through it, he was getting kind of stopped midway. I think let's try and reduce the... Well, let's increase the gravity and reduce the strength of his jump. He is a bit jumpy. So he should never be able to jump up to the next platform, because otherwise it's too easy. So he can't jump there. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, that's pretty good. As long as he can't jump to the next platform. And see there. So it's just that little bit too much. And this is where you kind of sit and just tweak it. I don't really know what the difference between reducing the gravity and increasing the strength of the jump is. They kind of feel like they're just exactly the same thing. Ooh. Okay, actually, let's fix that now. So you can say that if it's getting close... If he's getting close, stop him. I don't know whether that works. Yeah, it is. But stop does not mean... Yeah, so it's just constantly collision detecting, which is not great. Oh my goodness. So let's try and find a better way of doing that. What used to have in Clickteam, in Click and Play, is used to have... this part. This is it. So if he goes off anywhere, stop him. I think that's a better way of doing it. It's been ages since I've done this. I've used platform. There we are. Oh no, he's stuck. There we are. Cool, so it's not jumping off there anymore, which is good. Okay, so then maybe that's the difference between gravity and strength. We want his jump to last longer, but I'm pretty happy with the amount of jump, if that makes sense. So I think we reduce the gravity and reduce the strength, maybe, I don't know. And this is about tweaking now. See, I don't think he's jumping high enough, because he's got to jump over the barrels, and we don't want to make it too hard. But I'm really conscious and not letting him do that. We don't want him to be able to jump up there, which he kind of could do if you twist it. So I think we've done well. There we are. You can kind of cheese it. I don't know whether it's such a problem. I don't know. Now we need him to be able to go up the ladders, so we need some function that says if you press up. Like what you could do, as I showed you, is have a background object, a backdrop object, but I've never been able to get them to work. I'm sure there's a really good, easy, obvious way of doing it, but I'm yet to find it. So we need to code it ourselves. So when the player's overlapping an object, I don't know whether we could do it now. Let's try it. Let's try and do it. So I'm going to say that every 10 split seconds that the player is overlapping a ladder, and that the player's pressing up, that we should subtract. So set Y coordinate of where they currently are, and we want them to go up, so it would be minus, I don't know, 1 pixel. Let's see how that goes. So overlapping ladder, pressing up. Oh my goodness, that's really slow. It's kind of weird. I think what we want is repeat. So this is interesting. This should be repeat while keys pressed, because at the moment, if you press up, it only happens once. So we want to repeat this while the key is pressed. We'll get there. We'll get there, Mario. Hey! I think I might have got that slightly wrong. Okay. I think we need to move up a lot more than 1 pixel. Maybe 10, maybe every 500ths of a second. Let's see how that goes. That's looking better. It's kind of weird. It's kind of jaggy. And when it's jaggy, it means that the bit I'm adding on is too much. So let's do 2 pixels, but let's make it every 100th of a second. I've just realised I haven't saved this project once. I should probably save it. That's foreshadowing. Okay. It's weird. It's not, there we are. It's not really working very well. It really doesn't like this part here. It's quite happy to move up these parts, but when it gets to this one, it's the collision with that one as well seems to really upset it. The one thing I could do is make Mario smaller, although I think he's not really clipping that. Maybe he is. I could try making him smaller. So let's clone that. So we've got that one safe, and let's make him smaller. Oh, I've got to do it within here. Do I want to do that? No, I don't. No, that's going to open a can of worms. Right, I'm going to save that. So we have reached our minimum viable product for this week. We've got the platforms all sorted. We've got them falling down nicely into place, and we have some sort of semblance of the ability to climb them to the top. But like with all projects I do on Clickteam, I get really enthusiastic that there's something there that can really help push this forward with the movement controls. But then when you actually start using them, they're not quite what you want. And that's when you start having to figure out your own movement engine. And I think for this it would be pretty difficult because Mario or Jumpman can go literally anywhere on the screen. And so, yeah, unlike Pac-Man where there was sort of known paths where Pac-Man can go, Jumpman can jump anywhere. So yeah, it's gonna be a really tricky one. But yeah, I don't know whether we'll do a second week of this. So you'll know probably by the title of the YouTube video if it's 1/5 for Monday's one, then this is the last episode. If I then somehow get some enthusiasm later in the weekend to do another weeks of it, then it'll be /10. But if this is our last episode, thank you very much for watching. And thank you again for all your kind comments and your thumbs up, your subscriptions, all of that good stuff. It really does mean the world. Some of the comments you've written have been very, very nice. So thank you very much for those. And I will see you either for a continuation of this project or another project. Thank you very much.